Cup Bop Korean Barbecue in a Cup is serving up unique Korean-style dishes and a special brand of pho. Treat yourself to a delicious bowl of rice, cabbage, noodles, your choice of protein like the Rock Bop, which is tangy fried chicken, and your choice of sauce from all sweet to nothing but the heat. Pop on over to eatcupbop.com to find the location nearest you and savor some crazy good Korean food served with a smile. With 5 area locations, 1100 South Fort Apache at Charleston, 7150 North Durango at Elkhorn, 4680 South Maryland Parkway, 1975 West Craig Road, and 7175 West Lake Mead Boulevard. The Upperman Report, weeknights at 9 on KSHP North Las Vegas, AM and FM, K2968B North Las Vegas, and KSHP.com.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program's participants and do not necessarily reflect those of station staff, management, and advertisers.
It's time for the most interactive radio program in Las Vegas today. It's time for Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro. Brian will talk sports, politics, entertainment, and anything that matters to you. Feel free to call Brian at 702-221-7283.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Now, Pushing the Limits, here's Brian Shapiro.
All right, what's up, everybody? Let's do it. Happy Hump Day Wednesday. It is Pushing the Limits. Thank you so much for joining us. We have a jam-packed show lined up for you today. Really looking forward to it. Of course, the Joe Biden impeachment inquiry is a big story. And what better person to talk about that than the guy who helps run Occupy Democrats? Yes, that's right. Grant's going to be joining us coming up here. Grant Stern from Occupy Democrats at the bottom of the hour. Always love talking to him. I'll tell you, it's a tough job, but somebody has to do it. The girls from the hit show Fantasy are going to be joining me in studio today. We're going to have some fun with them. Not that kind of fun. Relax, Chuck. That's not what I was talking about. But no, the girls from Fantasy are going to be joining us in studio. We can't have them go topless because it's against YouTube regulations. I know that's another disappointment for a lot of people, unfortunately, but you're going to have to go see the show if you want to see that. But they're going to be joining us in hour number 2. Gosh, there's so much to get to today, so much news. And they caught that bastard in Pennsylvania, by the way, that was on the loose. They found him this morning. Great job by law enforcement there. You got to give kudos where kudos are due. Nobody was hurt or injured except the convict who was bitten by a dog. So we'll get into that a little bit later as well. But, because I schedule so many different guests and I'm getting old and I'm very forgetful, the big man, Paul Mokeski, usually joins us on Thursday. I said, Mo, can you join me on Wednesday? Because we got a lot to talk about when it comes to USA basketball. And of course, he said yes. He's such a nice man, of course. The Gentle Giant. I don't think he likes that nickname. I'm talking about 11-year NBA veteran and 20-year coach, Paul Mokeski, joining us right now on the line. Paul, thanks so much for being here on the Wednesday. How are you?
I'm good, man. You're bouncing me around everywhere. But, just like my 12-year NBA career, I fit in wherever. I'm like, I'm a role player. Just pop me in on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Monday. I don't care. I'll even go on the air with Chris Wynn. Damn it.
Well, I don't know if I'd ever put you in that position. That'd be difficult. That'd be like putting you on a team with James Harden and Kyrie Irving. I'd never do that to you, Mo. I'm sorry. No, but I appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much. Obviously, the big story in the sports world, as far as basketball-wise goes, was USA Basketball, that a lot of people would say underperformed, not getting a medal. I want to get your overall perspective and what, if any, responsibility do you put on your former teammate, Steve Kerr?
Well, first of all, underperform, I don't agree with, by the way. When you look at the team that went to represent us, it's the B team for sure. All are mostly young players that are up and coming that needed FIBA experience. So when you look at the Final Four, and I would put Final Five because I would put Lithuania in there, who actually didn't make it to the medal round. Most of those teams have 2 to 7 NBA players on them, and then the next is a higher level European players. I mean, if you look at Canada, they have Dylan Brooks, R.J. Barrett, Kelly Olynyk, Dwight Powell, all the guys that have started in the NBA, and then Gilius Alexander, who is an up-and-coming superstar That's their star. So, and Germany has Schroeder and the Wagner brothers that play for Orlando, and Daniel Theis, who played for Boston. Serbia has 2 or 3. And so, everybody has NBA players now. So you don't get the wow factor that you used to do. Number 2, Brian, I was thinking today, when I was looking up stuff, you know what? I remember 4 years ago watching the World Cup games and really interested in what was going on, and nobody cared. Nobody looked, nobody watched. World Cup what? So here's another thing that happens. All these countries like Serbia, even Canada and Lithuania and Germany, they put a higher quality on the World Cup than they do the Olympics. That's what they've done all their life. Since they're little kids, they want to win the World Cup. And then the Olympics is after that. In the United States, it's the other way around. We think as the Olympics as the pinnacle, and the World Cup as, some other FIBA tournament. So that has something also to do with what happened. Underachieving, anyone in that Final Four, if you would have told me any one of those teams, and let's say Final Five, I'm going to put Lithuania in there. If you would have said that team was going to win it, I would have said, sure. Or if you would have said, that team would have not medaled, I would have said, yeah, okay. Because they're pretty equal. And it's just interesting to me when, like everything, when a team is down or a program is down, now we have all this interest in the World Cup. You weren't even there 4 years ago. You didn't even know what it was. So, I would put a timeout on that a little bit. Second of all, but I do think there's things that the USA basketball needs to fix and approach. A few things. Number one, they need more size because these European teams have bigs and they actually post up, Brian. They throw it into the post and work out of the post. They got guys that can score and get in foul trouble. So we need to get real bigs. By bigs, I don't mean a 7-footer. I mean a 7-footer that weighs 270, 80 pounds because that's what these guys are now. You have Anthony Davis, who's 7 foot, but he's 220. He can't compete with those guys. It's like guarding the Joker. It doesn't work. So, the next team we're sending to the Olympics is going to be totally different. But you need like a Brooks Lopez for sure, who's played before. And the biggest thing I think you need to get for the Olympics is you need to get Joel Embiid committed to play for us.
Yeah.
Because I believe he can play for France or another country because he is 7'1", 280. So that's number one. Number two is you got to stop playing FIBA tournaments with like an NBA game. It doesn't work. NBA games are, transition and then open floor and then run into pick and roll. Well, that's NBA and FIBA. It's more movement and pickaways and staggered aways. You got to fight through handoffs and all this stuff that's going on and movement. When you look at Team USA, once we didn't get a first action, where everyone just stood and either called for a pick and roll. You can't do that. You need to play like FIBA basketball. Also, FIBA basketball is different because it's 40 minutes, not 48. And that 8 minutes is a big difference, especially for NBA players that are used to, if I can take chill a little bit for 4 or 5 minutes, I can get it back at the end. Well, you can't do that in FIBA basketball. It doesn't work that way. The other thing that glared out about me was turnovers. And I saw it at the practices here in Las Vegas. And I kind of wanted to say something to Steve, but you have to abide by the FIBA rules. And one of the big rules is traveling. So in FIBA, in the NBA or college or, here in the United States basketball, you can catch the ball, go to the basket, and you have to put the ball down before your pivot foot hits the ground again. In FIBA, when you catch it and you go through, you have to put the ball down before your pivot foot steps off the ground. That's totally different. So I think USA had 3, 4 to 5 turnovers with that call. You got to work on that. The other thing is you got to understand the referees. It's not the NBA. They don't care who you are. They teed up Luka twice and got him out of the game. Would never happen if you play with the Mavericks. And you got to just absorb that and say, you know what, I can't. They're not going to give me those calls, and I got to just play through that. So those are some of the things that I think USA has to work on. However, I'm kind of tired of everybody in a panic and like, I want to, say relax. I mean, when you look at the team we put together, one of the youngest we've ever put over there, you're looking at probably two of those players, maybe three will be in the Olympics roster. You're looking at Anthony Edwards, who's an up and coming talent. You're looking at Halliburton, who's a very young, good defensive player. Paulo Banchero, who is Rookie of the Year, he's up and coming. But other than that, you have Jalen Brunson, who is okay with the Knicks, and Jaren Jackson, who is Defensive Player of the Year, but he's not big enough. Austin Reeves, who's a backup, but a good player for the Lakers. And now let's see who we have next year. Let me see. LeBron, Tatum, Curry, Lillard, Butler, AD, KD, Booker, Holiday, Mitchell, Kawhi, Draymond Green, Brooke Lopez, Embiid maybe, Bradley Beal. I mean, come on, man. Come on. Yeah. That's what your real roster is going to be. So
no, listen, you're right. You made a lot of great points, and I'm certainly not one of those people that's freaking out. When you list the names of the players that are going to be playing most likely in the Olympics, I think USA basketball is going to be just fine. With that being said, though, is it fair to say, Mo, that the world is slowly catching up, meaning that these teams, particularly in Europe, seem to be getting better and better? Is that a fair assessment?
Absolutely. I think basketball is global now. It's everywhere, and kids are learning the game earlier now overseas. And they're getting into it. And basketball, before, if you go to Italy or France, I mean, I've coached all over the world. You see a zillion soccer fields and not very many basketball hoops. Now it's evening out, whereas kids, they're getting used to basketball, and they're seeing their fellow countrymen, succeed in the NBA, the highest level you can get. And we've talked about this before, Brian. The last 5 MVPs of the NBA have been European players: Giannis, Joker, and Embiid. They're all 7-footers, and they're all non-Americans. So yeah, it's catching up. It's not there yet. When you heard the roster I just put out there, which that was like 18 guys, but at the same time, you need to remember that all these guys are coming off of 82 game seasons plus playoffs, which could be 10 to 20 games. So you're looking at, they're in a season of 8 to 10 months. And now you're asking them after that time, which they make $40 million for, and they want to get an NBA ring. Now you're asking them, okay, it's going to be like training camp in Vegas. It's not going to be like a drill sergeant. And then we're going to go play in Spain and Dubai and get ready to play. I mean, that's nice. It's a great trip. But that's also 6 weeks of their life that usually they're set for resting, family time, recuperation. So there's some sacrifice on the NBA players level that a lot of people don't understand. And then after that, and these guys are the dependents of their NBA team. And now after that, you're asked to come into training camp 3 or 4 weeks later and then pick up your own team, the Mavericks or the Lakers or whoever, and be that guy. That's a lot of stress on your body and your mind. So I think, but even like the 18 or 20 names, you need to get 6 or 7 of them and the right ones. And we'll be
fine. It's a big commitment. I think you make a really good point there, where in the offseason, a lot of these guys, I'd want to rest. And don't get me wrong, it's a huge honor to represent your country. I think we all would agree with that. But at the same time, that's a really important 6 weeks that you want to heal your body. And I think LeBron James is certainly one of those guys, particularly your age matters. And LeBron is a guy that needs that rest. Are you confident that LeBron will be playing in the Olympics?
Well, from what I hear, he's taken the challenge and he's recruiting players. And, the thing is that you can do in FIBA tournaments is, before the tournament, the pool play, you have all these friendly games. So you have the leisure to play LeBron as little as you want, but still keep him in the loop so you can rest him. And I think he'd still be, a dangerous player. But I see his leadership now, where I hear, I'm calling AD and I'm calling Lillard and I'm calling these guys, because let's face it, in the United States, basketball, even for me, if you prioritized, I want an NBA ring 1, an Olympic gold medal 2, and a World Cup gold medal 3. So it's in that order, So my priorities are number 1 for an NBA championship. But you're looking at, you have pool play, you have 3 games, then it goes into the other pool. You got 2 games, and you go in the medal round. So really, you're looking at 6 or 7 games. So I think the older players can last for that. But obviously rest and replenishing your water and all that stuff is key. And there won't be any NBA rules where you can't rest your players.
Right. You're not, and there's going to be none of that going on. If you're just joining us, 11-year NBA veteran Paul Mokeski joining us. So, Paul, I look back at my life here in Las Vegas, and certainly the best sports experience of my life, and I have quite a few here in Las Vegas in radio, was when USA had to qualify in the FIBAs here in Las Vegas. They played 8 games in 11 days, and this was the squad, the redemption squad, of course, with Kobe, with LeBron, with Chris Paul, with Dwayne Wade. I mean, the list of players at Carmelo Anthony was very special. And watching these guys scrimmage and practice and play these games, it was, I remember doing a one-on-one interview with Kobe Bryant, and he told me that this was the best basketball experience of his life. And the leadership that Kobe Bryant showed on that team is something that I will never forget. That was a very young LeBron James, and it was really special to watch. Now, obviously, this squad was very, very different, but I have no doubt that if LeBron is going to be the leader of this team for the Olympics, he's going to recruit the players that he wants, and I have no doubt that they're going to win a gold medal. As long as LeBron is on this team and he brings along those players that you mentioned with him, it's not going to be easy, but they're going to win a gold medal. Would you agree?
Yeah, and I mean, and LeBron's going to be a leader, probably not as much as he has in the past, as far as playing 30 minutes or something.
Right.
But he can play 20 minutes or 25 and be leader of that team.
Sure.
And he maybe become more of a distributor and like he likes to do anyway. And and I think to answer your question, I'm not going to sidestep it. Steve Kerr is a very good friend of mine, and for the most part, I think he did a good job, but I think he did underestimate the size and the strength and the ability of some of these teams and the makeup of the roster, which isn't totally his. It's Grant Hills, the guy you interviewed him, and USA Basketball makes up that roster. But I believe that Steve thought that he could model it after the Golden State Warriors and go small and fast and be effective. And that was obviously not the case. Hopefully he learned that and said, listen, Golden State Warriors are the Golden State Warriors. Okay, we're not going to be that. We need bigs. We need physicality. We need defense. It was the worst USA Basketball defensive team ever in the history of the game, and they have to fix that because I've coached in the Caribbean Championships. I've coached in Tournament of Americas. I've coached in the World Cup. I've coached in the Olympics. And the game gets physical, not only in the post position, but the wings. You saw teams post up Austin Reeves left and right. They just abused him because they saw on tape, we can post him up. He can't guard us. And then we're going to get USA into rotations, which you don't want to get. So, you have to have size and strength at every position if you're going to win a FIBA tournament.
You have to have the Mamba mentality. Not everybody's Kobe Bryant, but I hear the stories all the time when he went up to Jerry Colangelo and said, if I'm going to be on this team, I want to defend the best player on the opposing team every single game. That's just who Kobe Bryant was. He was built for that. And
when you had the dream team, you had Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen battling to see who could guard the best player. They wanted to defend. You're absolutely right on that.
And I just feel like that passion, some players have it, but boy, in today's game, I'm going to say they're few and far between where those kind of players take that sort of passion on the defensive end. Some do, but I would argue that most don't. And I think in the days when you were playing, there were more players in the league that took defense. I don't know if I want to say more seriously, but maybe they had a more passion for playing defense than maybe they do now.
Yeah, you had Joe Dumars and even Dennis Rodman's, but it's different. FIBA, like in the NBA, you got to stay in front of your guy and contain them, and you can't leave the corner 3-point shooter, but you got to help a little bit, and you got to move your feet, and you got to deal with pick and rolls, which now they switch mostly. In FIBA basketball, you're dealing with, if I'm guarding a wing in FIBA basketball, he's chasing me off picks. He's chasing me off handoffs with guys that are 6'10", 280 that are going to shoulder me, like in the old days, and it hurts. And I remember when I was with Great Britain and coaching with the Olympics in 2012, and we played Serbia, we played Lithuania, and my scouting report was our guards need to fight through those handoffs, and if you can't get through, you can't avoid the pick. You got to run into the guy and fall down and hopefully get a call.
Right.
Well, guess what? That hurts. You're running into a 7-foot, 280-pound guy who has an elbow out. And I was on the bench. It bothered me the whole time because the ref went to me. I said, they're moving on the pick. And he said, Coach, unless you run into him, there is no movement. He can move as much as he wants. You got to run. But it's just different. I mean, you pay the price on every possession if you're guarding the wings and the guards in FIBA basketball, where in the NBA, you can rest in the corner, guard your guy. It's just different. So you have to have a bigger commitment on defense.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And I agree with everything you said about USA basketball. It's no time to panic at all. Steve Kerr and the gang and Spoelstra and Few, they're all going to be just fine. They're going to have some of the best players in the world on this squad for the Olympics, and I expect them to win a gold medal. It's not going to be easy. Big Mo, look forward to having you in studio next week. I promise you I won't fiddle with the schedule, and I promise we'll get you in studio next week. Good luck on those video poker machines this weekend, my friend.
Well, I'm getting ready. I'm getting ready to head into my outpatient rehab for my knees. So they're going to torture me here in about an hour. So maybe this weekend we can get together so you can give me a little sympathy.
I might have to do that with the permission of your wife. Maybe I could take you to fantasy. Maybe I could take you to that show. I don't know. Maybe that'll make you feel a little better.
I don't know. What you got going on over there?
Yeah, well, it's going to be fun in hour number 2, Mo. You might want to stick around and watch. Anyway, Paul.
I'll put it on my phone while they're just torturing my knee.
That's a good idea. I'm glad. I will tell them that, hey, a friend of mine is going through rehab, but he just had knee replacement surgery. Can you take your top off for him? No, I won't ask. That would be very improper. But anyway.
I'll say, I'm not crying. You're crying.
This is true. Big Mo, always a pleasure. Good luck with your rehab today. I appreciate you coming on as always, and we'll see you in studio next week. All right, good luck. Talk to you soon, buddy. All right, take care. That's Paul Mokeski, 11-year NBA veteran, 20-year coach. I want to share this real quickly before we take a break because this is really important stuff. Really important stuff out in Pennsylvania, and I give the law enforcement there a lot of credit as they captured this guy, Danielle Cavalante, earlier today, a murderer. And luckily, nobody was hurt. Nobody was injured. They caught this guy. It's amazing what they can use in today just by temperature. They can find somebody just by heat in our own body. And that's how they found this guy, which is kind of wild. And there was this lightning thunderstorm when it all took place. So that kind of put things on halt a little bit. But they were able to find him. A dog was able to, in a way, capture him and bite him. And the guy had a gun on him. So it's great that nobody got hurt. This guy won't be seeing the light of day for the rest of his life. He terrorized a community. And I'm really glad. I'm really glad that they were able to find him. Numchuck, you got some quick audio you said you wanted to play for us. What do we got going on here? What do we got?
The radio room, Chester County government, and the various other agencies working on the prisoner escape are proud to announce the subject is in custody.
There you go. That was the official announcement, I guess, on the dispatch. So that's kind of cool. Congratulations to them. Kudos to the Pennsylvania State Police. Listen, I criticized them the past week and a half. I did. Because I don't think it should have come down to this. But when it was all said and done, they did their job and they got this guy, and I'm really happy to hear that.
So I have a little bit of criticism over it.
What's that?
The fact that they went and took a selfie with all of them took a selfie with
Yeah,
them.
I saw that. I think that's inappropriate.
Yes.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I was just going to say that. So after they captured this guy, they all stood around him and took a picture with him, almost like a cinematic type thing. And I get it. You're proud. You caught this guy. Okay, let me say this. If somebody was hurt, if an innocent bystander was hurt, or God forbid killed, I would have been livid at this picture. The reason why I'm going to let it slide, and I understand why people like you and some people don't like it. I get it. But the reason why I'm going to kind of let it slide is because they got this guy. Nobody was hurt. You know what I mean? So, okay, they had a moment where they were proud. This is going to be a movie. Mark my words. This is going to be a cinematic movie that I will want to see. As much as this guy is a piece of human scum, the fact that he was on the loose for 2 weeks is just, it's insanity. But anyway, great job by the Pennsylvania State Police. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, always love talking to Grant Stern from Occupy Democrats. We're going to get his thoughts on this Joe Biden impeachment inquiry, which I think is a complete joke. We got some audio of Fetterman reacting to it, which is absolutely hilarious. Lauren Boebert almost got arrested yesterday, too. I did want to talk about that with Grant. And Mitt Romney has just said he will not be seeking re-election. We're going to get to all these topics with Grant Stern from Occupy Democrats when we come back. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this with Grant. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Hey everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Ringwood Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits here. I want to tell you guys about my good friends at the Postal Annex. They have a notary signing agent on site daily, no appointment needed, and they offer a full scale of printing services from shipping labels to documents, business cards, banners, photos, and business signage. They're your passport service headquarters. They offer passport photos and they can renew your adult passports. If you're traveling in a hurry, they can get those passports to you within 7 days or less. Mailbox rentals with a physical street address, and they also receive your packages from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, USPS, and more. Here's the best part. If you're a Pushing the Limits listener, they have an introductory rate of only $39 for a 3-month service. You can't beat it. Give them a call, 702-873-8005. Check them out at 6130 West Flamingo Road. It's the Postal Annex. Tell them I sent you.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event that requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well, so I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust and someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Wynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site x-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams and treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices, office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client, so please give them a call, 702-248-0554.
Whether you're a corporate executive, on a family vacation, or just passing through, St. George Inn and Suites will meet your specific needs. It's conveniently located near restaurants, shopping, and movie theaters. St. George Inn and Suites offers a variety of room types, 2 fabulous pools and jacuzzis, a fitness center, a free full hot buffet breakfast, and laundry facilities. To make your booking, call 435-673-6661 or book online at stgeorgeinnhotel.com. You need to stop in Southern Utah? Make that stop at St. George Inn and Suites.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a very busy news day on a Wednesday. We got Mitt Romney announcing he won't be seeking re-election. Lauren Boebert getting kicked out of Beetlejuice yesterday. You hear this story? It's kind of wild. And of course, the GOP focused on impeaching Joe Biden. I figured what better person to talk to us about all these issues than, of course, Grant Stern from Occupy Democrats. Uh-oh, let's lower that music down. There we go. Grant, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going? Can you there we are. How is everybody today?
Gotcha. Doing good, Grant. How are you?
I'm great. How is everything in Vegas?
Same old, my man. Just craziness. You know, Vegas is crazy and it's fun, and there's always negatives and positives to living in every city, but there's certainly more positives, I would say. But gosh, I have to start by asking you this question, Grant. What went through your mind when you saw Mr. McCarthy, the speaker, announce officially yesterday that they were putting this inquiry into Joe Biden? What went through your mind?
I mean, have they really run out of ideas already? Are they just trying to pretend that they are the Democrats, you know, without anything underneath? This is just, it's a sad political theater. That's really all it is. I mean, here you have one of the slimmest majorities that the House has ever seen. Democrats had the same majority last time. They passed a slew of important legislation. And here are Republicans with the same opportunity. And what are they doing? Let's see. They want to shut down the government, impeach Joe Biden for no reason. And if they can't get all of that, they also want to take away your Social Security benefits and all sorts of other things that they're trying to cut in exchange for the deals that they want that nobody wants to give them, even in their own caucus. It's a bizarre occurrence. And it's all because the Freedom Caucus holds Speaker McCarthy hostage.
If you know, I'm watching, and don't even ask me why, but I was watching a little bit of Sean Hannity yesterday, and he starts out the show rattling out all the reasons why this inquiry, you know, should have happened a long time ago. And he says, allegedly, people say that Biden was on a call with some of his son's business associates, and you know, Joe Biden lied about this, and this, and all they're going by are a few witnesses that have never been under oath. There's no direct evidence, correct me if I'm wrong, that Joe Biden certainly broke the law or even did anything wrong. Why is it none of these people are under oath? And I'm not even going to pay any attention to it until they are.
Well, that's the con. It's a political con job. This isn't like government. This isn't like how people run a country. This is just how people use their official office to literally play politics. And it's disgusting. But this is what the Republicans have done with the speakership of the House for decades. This is nothing new. They impeached Bill Clinton for acts that weren't acts of office. He didn't get acquitted, even though people thought they were all terrible acts. But the head of the Republican caucus at the time, Newt Gingrich, he was doing the same thing. He was also having an affair with someone in his office. So, you know, this is even worse. They couldn't even come up with something that Joe Biden's actually doing. Right. I mean, the worst part about all of this is not just that there's no thing in the burgers, right? This is pure here. I've got my Republican burger right here. Om nom. This is the content of this impeachment. But it's like everything they allege didn't happen in the last since January 21st of 2021.
Mhm.
And Democrats were on solid ground. They didn't go after any ghosts when it came to impeachment. Not one. Right? I mean, they could have pursued the Mueller report and used that as the basis of an impeachment for obstructing the investigation. But what Mueller found, and this is all he found, by the way, is that there was no tacit agreement for help between the Trump campaign and Russia. But he found that Russia was investing extraordinary resources into helping Donald Trump. And of course, the Russians who were doing it, they all basically said, yeah, we did it just in the last year when Wagner Group got wound down and that whole fiasco. So there's nothing here. And yet they want to do it because they have nothing. They have no platform, nothing for America. I mean, Democrats passed an impeachment, infrastructure bill, right? How many times did Donald Trump talk about infrastructure week and not do it? He didn't even release a bill.
You're
right. Democrats released the bill and passed it, right? Inflation Reduction Act, which it will reduce inflation, but not like yesterday, but certainly in a couple of years. But the biggest investment into green tech, making jobs in America, the CHIPS Act, which was bipartisan, all of these pieces of legislation that Democrats put forward got passed. They got Republican votes for a lot of them. And here's the Republicans with the exact same people, the exact same opportunity. They could pass some bills that could make it through the Senate. They just don't want to.
No, listen, I agree with you. I talk about this all the time where, you talk about helping the American people. Republicans seem to be against every governmental program that could help people that are in need in this country. You mentioned Donald Trump. Donald Trump always
I've heard of the guy.
Yeah. He always talks about election interference, and all these indictments are election interference. Let me ask you a question, Grant. We've learned in the last couple days that Donald Trump has met with Marjorie Taylor Greene and those on the extreme MAGA far right in basically being the mastermind in orchestrating this impeachment inquiry. Isn't that the definition of election interference?
No, I disagree. This is not election interference. It's just election stupidity on his part. I mean, back when the impeachment began, right, in September of 2019, the first impeachment of Donald Trump, I remember learning the details of it and thinking to myself that by the fact that Donald Trump has basically announced to the world that he is deathly afraid of running against Joe Biden, he is almost certainly going to make him the nominee. Once Joe Biden gets about 1,000 media mentions every day for the next 6 months, it's going to be almost impossible for any other candidate to overcome his name recognition at that point, right? And being associated with Joe Biden being the guy that made Donald Trump so scared, he had to break the law to fight him by abusing his political office. And here we go again. Here we go with Republicans now abusing their official political offices yet again to attack Joe Biden because they're deathly afraid of him. And this is the dynamic that people are missing out there. The media is very focused on Joe Biden being old. And that's a really sad place to go. You know why? Because the last president that the media obsessed over their age was named Reagan. And as I recall, his reelection went rather well. Okay. He won every state except for Minnesota and Puerto Rico, right? Coincidentally, Marco Rubio only won Minnesota and Puerto Rico in the 2016 Republican primary. But Walter Mondale did not do very well, right? So I was looking through the archives, looking through Nexus. You ever heard of Lexus? Yeah.
Yes.
Great journalistic tool. It has stuff you're not going to find on Google.
Yep.
And I was looking for Gallup polling about Ronald Reagan's age in the summer of 1983. And you know what I found?
What's that?
So Reagan had a 46% approval rating in August of 83, up 4 points, by the way. It was only 42%, according to Gallup in July of 82. Okay. But only 36% of the respondents to that poll wanted Reagan to run for re-election. This is 40 years ago, same time, right before the I mean, this is the best parallel there is. Not Clinton, not Bush, but Reagan. The same issues, same questions. And you saw that the Democrats ran someone who was older, but not quite as old, who had some unpopular ideas, right? Who wasn't politically connecting to most of the country. I mean, Reagan won 57%. And if you look at
Grant,
all of the polling,
yeah.
if you look at all the polling about, people wanting Donald Trump to be held accountable, roughly
Right.
57% of the country wants that.
Sure.
So I'm just going to say right now, I'm calling it. Joe's going to win re-election. This is all a bunch of Democratic nervousness or corporate media clickbaity nervousness or all of the above. None of it matters.
So in general, I agree with you. I think most people, though, in this country, they don't want to see Donald Trump versus Joe Biden. I'm a registered independent. I speak for myself. And don't get me wrong, Grant, we're on the same side. If it's Donald Trump versus Joe Biden, I mean, I'll vote for Joe Biden in a heartbeat over Donald Trump. However, I am one of those people. I want to see somebody younger in there. Now, obviously, as somebody like a Michelle Obama, she's not running. She would destroy Donald Trump. I want to see somebody younger. Now, whether that's a Gavin Newsom or Shapiro out of Pennsylvania, I don't know. But I want to see somebody younger, not because I think Joe Biden is this horrible guy, because I don't think he is. But I want to see somebody a little younger. I don't want to see somebody up there saying that. And I'm willing to believe that Joe Biden was not lying, that he misspoke when he said he was at the 9/11 site the following day. He's an older guy. He probably got his dates wrong. He was there 5 days later. He said he got there a day later. Okay, don't think it's a huge deal. But I don't want to see my president making statements like that. And I don't want to give the right an opportunity to go after him like the way they do, because I think it's despicable as well. And that's probably more on them. But I am one of those people that wants somebody younger in office. Doesn't mean I would ever vote for a younger Ron DeSantis, because I think he's a dictator. But I want somebody younger that I like, around Mitt Romney's age, somebody around that age. And that's just, I think I'm not alone there. I think a lot of people feel that way. And listen, that's very interesting what you brought up with Ronald Reagan. I wasn't aware of that. I find that to be very interesting. But we are in a different era now, and 2024 elections around the corner. I still think most Americans will vote for Joe Biden over Donald Trump. I don't think there's any question about that. I just want to see somebody younger in office. I don't think it's good for the Democrat Party, and I don't think it's good for America.
You know what? I don't think it's bad. I'll tell you why. If you look at what's happening in the House of Representatives, you have a very steady transition of power between the former Speaker Pelosi, now Speaker Emerita Pelosi, and new House leadership, where you have, someone who's of Joe Biden's, almost exact same age. They're both members of the silent generation, still performing very effectively, being a very important leader behind the scenes and in fundraising for the party, as well as, part of the messaging and passing along the understanding of how things work to the next generation of leaders. I mean, you have to think about this. She didn't pass the torch to Clyburn. She didn't pass the torch to oh gosh, I'm blanking on his name, but from Maryland, her top deputies, right?
Yep.
They passed the torch to new leadership altogether. And the fact of the matter is that, Joe Biden is our era's 40 years later. He is our era's Ronald Reagan. And history is something that you can't just escape and you can't write off, because it happened. It really did happen. And when you have strong parallels, you have to look at those strong parallels and accept that they are meaningful, much more meaningful than a snapshot poll that tells you people's feelings. But feelings don't really meet the aren't the rubber that meets the road of reality when it comes down to who are you going to choose. And let me just say this. Democrats have held the presidency many times over the last 100 years, but they haven't earned another term for the incumbent president during any of those last 100 years when there's been a significant primary challenge or when the incumbent did not run for re-election, right? And usually spurred by a significant primary challenge. And that primary challenge has come from the highest levels, not the bottom levels. RFK Jr. is not a primary challenge. He's no different than Bill Clinton's primary challenge in 1996, right? I mean, I just don't see how you're going to get more than a tiny fraction of Democrats to vote for the father of the anti-vax lies, right? He is the father of them. I mean, his original martyrdom came that his lie-filled and not factual story in Slate was retracted after they corrected it endlessly. And the editor who wrote it actually wrote the story of the whole thing and said, yeah, this guy is lying. He's not a serious candidate, although the New York media loves him because he has a last name. He'll sell the clicks for them, right?
Sure.
This is not like when Teddy Kennedy challenged Carter, right? This is not when RFK was a stalking horse and Eugene Humphrey was challenging LBJ. It's not like, when Truman lost the primary and quit, right? But all of those are examples of Democrats who were incumbents and their own party took them down. The Democratic Party is unified strongly behind Joe Biden right now. I don't see, if Gavin Newsom had declared himself a candidate 6 months ago, then we would be seeing a real historical parallel to something like Teddy Kennedy. But we're not seeing it. And therefore, there's really only one option: nominate Joe Biden, because the fact is Democrats are pretty set on it, and Republicans are absolutely set on Donald Trump as the nominee. He's not going to lose his plurality. He only had a plurality of 30 to 35% of the vote in 2016, and he's not going to go lower than that today.
I agree. And what I do tell people is that you're not going to find many people that voted for Joe Biden in 2020 that are all of a sudden switching to Donald Trump. There are just not many people out there like that. I think if anything, he's lost support, and we saw what happened in 2020. So I certainly agree with you there. Grant, I want to ask you some other questions outside of this impeachment inquiry, which I think we both agree is an absolute joke.
About FIBA, the basketball, because I'm ready.
No,
I watched all those games.
Yeah, that was a disappointment as well. Mitt Romney announced earlier today that he won't be seeking re-election. Is it a surprise to you? What is your reaction to Mitt Romney saying he might be out of politics, at least for a while?
I'm not surprised. I think he's fulfilled a really important role since he's been in the Senate. And that is, being a bipartisan deal maker, being someone who, brings reality into the job of politics, someone who is wealthy enough that he's not sold out to everybody else. He speaks his conscience. You can disagree with him. I disagree with a lot of his policies, but he's not someone that's in denial of reality because he's selling someone else's agenda, and that's much appreciated. Even though, like I said, I don't agree with him on a lot of things, and some of the facts too. I mean, I just he's a private equity guy. He cites a few things that I don't agree with, but this is not a surprise. I read about his deliberations, and he's like, hey, I'm getting old. This is going to be a huge dogfight. And for what? He actually said in the announcement he wants a new generation. And that speaks to what you're talking about. And I think a lot of people want a new generation of leadership. Sure. But this isn't about what everybody wants. This is about what's going to be best for America for the next 4 years. After that, I think that people are going to be ready for a change of generations. They're going to be ready for some younger folks to take the helm. But those folks are going to be more ready themselves. I think it's better to have a steady transition from, say, the Biden administration in 2028, or, if God forbid something were to happen, his running mate's administration, to, say, a Newsom administration, or, one of these other Democrats that's interested in running. I wrote 6 books about the candidates in 2020, and I believed legitimately that those candidates all had the capacity to serve as effective commanders in chief. One of those was Kamala Harris. And these were real deep dives. This did not spare the candidate for who they were, right? In fact, I found out something very interesting about Cory Booker. But, I really believed that at the end of it, that they all had important skill sets that could be applied as the commander-in-chief, right? So the Democrats have a much deeper bench than people realize, but they're with Joe Biden because Joe Biden is our guy right now, and the power of incumbency just cannot be understated.
Yeah, you mentioned Cory Booker, good man. A lot of members of his family actually live here in Las Vegas. He's out here a lot.
Oh, interesting.
He's a good man. All right. Speaking of the opposite from a good person to a despicable human being, in my opinion, which is Lauren Boebert. I have to ask you about this story. What did you make of this story where she goes and she's watching this Beetlejuice play with, I guess, her new boyfriend, and she's vaping and she's causing a disturbance. She refuses to leave until security threatened to call the police. And then as she's walking out, she flips them the bird and she's taking selfies. I mean, can you believe that we live in a day and age when somebody like this is actually an elected official? What do you make of this story?
You know, you're in Colorado. Can't you take some edibles? Come on. No, I mean, this is, it's a really, really sad sign of the times that her hypocrite party keeps her around. I mean, you're talking about the party that spent decades beating the drum of how important character is in our elected officials. And here you have some.
Uh-oh. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Grant froze.
Sorry about that.
You are back.
Seems
Sir.
like seemed like my Wi-Fi decided to just disconnect for a second. Yeah, it's really sad that you have somebody who's a public official, right? And her job is to represent the very people that she's disrespecting. You know, I mean, the level of disrespect to be that guy who's disturbing a public performance of people on the stage who are performing in public, everybody who paid to see that performance. It just shows the contempt that she has for the people around her. And, that's the grievance politics right there in a nutshell that Republicans have packaged and sold successfully, I might add, to people who harbor their own grievances. This is not a politics of policy and decisions and what's best for America. The Republican, she's emblematic of the Republican policy of attitude, posing, lashing out, showing your contempt and anger for others, and your obsession with yourself. It's so emblematic. I mean, that should be her next challenger's campaign commercial. She couldn't even sit in a theater and watch a show.
Yeah.
How could she represent you?
And
this
then
is what she really thinks about you.
You're right. And then she said, security guard said, don't you know who I am? I'm going to contact the mayor. This is the definition of when Joe Biden uses the term MAGA Republican. It's Lauren Boebert. It's Marjorie Taylor Greene. It's Matt Gaetz. It's Jim Jordan. It's McCarthy. These are the MAGA Republicans that are just, to me, despicable human beings. McCarthy we all know he has no backbone. He'll listen to people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it's disgusting. And then you have other Republicans. We had Vivek Ramaswamy on this show last week. And, I thought
when are we going to get to debate? I'm looking forward to it.
that would actually be fun. I could talk to
Let's do it. Yeah.
You and him. I could get you and him on the show at the same time. That'd be a lot of fun. I know I'm going to get him in studio when he comes to Vegas, but I'm sure you saw that interview he did on MSNBC recently where I just thought he was completely embarrassed. Here's a guy who shows all of his tax returns and then is basically lying about his tax returns at the same time. I thought it was the definition of hypocrisy, which is what I say about so many of these Republicans today, where they're against student loan forgiveness, yet they take these PPE loans that they don't have to pay back. Or in Vivek's case, he's against affirmative action, yet he took an affirmative action Soros scholarship. I mean, what did you make of that interview? I just thought it made him look like such a fool and a hypocrite.
Well, first of all, let me say Mehdi Hassan knows what he's doing. He always brings the receipts. He prepares well. It speaks well about his team too. And, it shows you that the Republican Party is more interested in claiming controversy. They've trained their voters to accept claims as reality without backing it up, right? I mean, I didn't just come into politics overnight. I actually have been a financial professional for almost 20 years. And we trust, but verify. And if you can't verify it, or if it verifies as false or whatever, you can't get what you ask for. That's just how it works. And Vivek knows better. He's a really, really smart guy. He's very sharp. He made a ton of money, and he did it in a not very savory manner. Everybody knows he, jacked up the prices of prescription drugs. took over a drug that was failing its tests, pumped up the stock price, made a fortune, sold, and then the drug didn't pan out. Everybody else lost their money. Yeah, that is capitalism, but that's not the idea of capitalism. The idea of capitalism is that everyone pitches in to take a chance at something that could be successful. So here you have someone that's willing to sell the best, rosiest case scenario to anybody as long as he profits from it. It doesn't seem to be the kind of character trait that I want in someone who's going to be a presidential nominee, let alone the man inside of the Oval Office. We had that for 4 years, and it did not work out well for our country.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. With that being said, right now, if I asked you who Donald Trump picks as his vice president, who do you think he picks? Could it be Vivek Ramaswamy? Ramaswamy has said that he doesn't want to be Donald Trump's vice president. So could it possibly be a Marjorie Taylor Greene? Who do you think Donald Trump picks?
I don't believe Vivek on this one either. I absolutely don't. I think that he's running for vice presidential nominee. I think that Marjorie Taylor Greene has a 0% chance of being the nominee. As always, Trump is using her to get what he wants. We all saw the Newsweek poll this week. I don't know if you did, but not every poll is indicative, but certainly this one is a strong snapshot that nobody in America today is clamoring for Marjorie Taylor Greene to be anybody's running mate. And Donald Trump has been quoted as saying nobody votes for the running mate. And he's right. Nobody does vote for the running mate. All the running mate can do in a ticket is bring it down, but not necessarily bring it up. But bring it up occasionally. There's certain effects. I mean, I can tell you right now that Kamala Harris was an additive, a plus for the Biden campaign. She brought a lot of excitement when she was nominated. She had a good campaign. Everything worked out pretty well in the end. They won. But I've seen, running mates bring down campaigns too. What comes to mind most recently is Sarah Palin. What comes to mind most recently is in Florida, Charlie Crist chose a running mate who I live in Miami-Dade, and I know people that were like, I want to vote for Charlie, but I can't vote for his running mate. A lot of people. I mean, she's well known, and he spent 2 to 3 weeks of the campaign trying to explain why he chose the running mate. And on The View, he ultimately settled that it was a choice from his heart.
Yeah.
He lost by 20 points. I mean, but Palin was also another, roll the bones kind of one, and it didn't work out. In fact, it backfired spectacularly.
McCain's biggest mistake in his political career, in my opinion, was picking Sarah Palin as his running mate. Otherwise, he wins that election. That's what I truly believe. I have to ask you.
I don't know that he wins, but he certainly
he would have done better. Event. It would have been closer. Yeah. And you know what? I would have been okay with John McCain as president. Another guy that I have a tremendous amount of respect for. Didn't agree with him on everything, but decent man. I think we all could agree on that. Same thing with Mitt Romney. We spoke about him. I want to ask you this before I let you go, because you make a lot of appearances on Newsmax, which I appreciate, and I enjoy your appearances there because I like the fact that at least once in a while they're willing to hear the other side. But
sure, yeah.
I speak to a lot of people on a regular basis that either have been radicalized or know people that have been radicalized because they watch Newsmax or Fox News. They actually buy into the propaganda and the lies that these networks spew out of their mouths every single day. And listen, I get it. People should be smart enough to form their own opinions and understand that it's about salacious ratings and the Tucker Carlsons of the world. Like, I get that. But there are still a lot of people out there that are being radicalized by some of these networks. I'm just going to call. I'm sorry. People aren't being radicalized by CNN or MSNBC. I'm sorry. I just don't see it.
No, Newsmax, it's not happening.
Fox, yeah, exactly. Newsmax, Fox News, OAN. I mean, what do you make of these networks? And I understand you want to go back on that network. I'm not asking you to trash Newsmax.
Oh, no, I can speak freely. I mean,
yeah, but you understand what I'm saying, Grant. I just think these networks are dangerous to society. It maddens me, and I don't know how people can watch these networks on a regular basis because it's such BS.
I respect the fact that they'll bring me on there and have a debate. And I can tell you that the people that I've spoken with in my circle who are Republicans, I live in Miami. We have Republicans, Democrats, and independents. We're not a solid electorate by any measure. They all actually take away a very high regard for what I say there. And they understand that, I'm winning the debate with facts. I'm not just, making a feeling statement or, pitching a narrative. And yeah, I mean, it's not right that these folks are pitching a narrative. They're selling a narrative. But the fact of the matter is that there's only one way to counter it, and that's to fight back, to have your own media networks that are putting out fact-based narratives and promulgating them as far as possible. That's why I run Occupy Democrats, because there is no liberal answer to this machine. And whether it's right or wrong, I mean, obviously, I think that it's wrong to propagate false information. There's nothing good about it, and it should not be done. If you know something is false, especially, you should definitely not be running it. And we saw that Fox paid an almost $800 million settlement for propagating a false claim about votes and Dominion that led to people losing their freedom. People died. America's peaceful transfer of power got broken. And it was all because of these lies. And these networks they demonstrated textbook actual malice and irresponsibility, and they shouldn't do that. I mean, they just should not. But to stay away and say, well, I'll never, I'll avoid it. It's like, look, I want to have the debate, and I invite all of these characters to come on my program on Occupy Democrats, because we're getting ready to spawn a series of podcasts to be part of that, bigger group that's out there fighting back against these false narratives, propagating the facts themselves, and really trying to expose what's happening in America fairly and honestly. And so, that's all we can do on our end. And that's why sometimes I'll go on there to, bring the facts over to Newsmax.
Yeah, I love that. And I love the fact that you make appearances on there. And don't get me wrong. I think more Democrats and more politicians should go more on Fox News. And I mean, heck, I saw Anthony.
Well, they're not being invited. I'll tell you, if they were being invited on Fox News, they would be going. They would. A lot of them. I doubt that they're being invited, honestly.
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that at all. I did see Anthony Weiner do an interview with Jesse Waters yesterday. That was entertaining. I can't stand Jesse Waters. But
that's who they want to spotlight, right? The Democrat with the most personal problems, right, connected to the Clintons, who really is barely in control of his faculties. And that's the guy that they want to show off.
This is true. But to be fair, I did have Anthony Weiner on the show last month. But I hear what you're saying, though. I mean, obviously, I'd rather speak to an elected official, a prominent elected official, whether it be a Booker, somebody of that nature. So I agree with you.
I haven't seen them bring Eric Swalwell back on. I haven't seen them bring Mayor Pete, Secretary Pete Buttigieg back on the show.
Joe Walsh. They won't have Joe Walsh back on. He comes on our show all the time.
Yeah.
They won't have Joe Walsh back on, or the Mooch does this show a lot. The Mooch tells me they won't have him back on either. I mean, CNN will have them on, but it goes to show you, right?
CNN won't have me on, so what does that tell you? I mean,
well, they should have you on.
I agree. I agree. I mean, look, I wrote the story that took down the We Build the Wall scam, and the head of the agency, whose law enforcement division opened the investigations, flat out told me so. Right? And where do I see the mainstream acknowledgement of that? I never do. And that's upsetting. So, I mean, I think that everybody has blind spots, but only some people acknowledge their real perspectives. And that's us. We tell you how it is. We are not kidding with you.
I'm with you. It's part of my frustration is 99% of talk radio seems to be right-wing echo chamber radio. Mark Levin, Sean Hannity, you name it.
Yep.
It's all the same to me. I don't understand it. We need more people like you out there. I think
I was on Salem for 5 years, dude.
Yep.
Salem.
So I mean, I was Beasley Broadcasting. That was hell. I worked for CBS and other networks, and I had good instances and good bosses and some bad bosses. But the bottom line is talk radio in this country, 99% of it is right-wing radio. I don't understand why, other than maybe that the people that are running these stations are Republicans and MAGAs.
That is absolutely correct. I mean, it's the preference of the people making the programming decisions. iHeartRadio, they're conservative. Salem is another big one. They're very conservative. Beasley, Sirius or Cumulus. There's a couple others. Cox Radio. I mean, they're selling what they think is going to get the ratings. And when Democrats made a competitor, right? Democrats made a great competitor. It was called Air America, right? The problem was nobody there was dedicated to just being that and doing it forever and making sure that it was institutionalized. And look at where those people have gone now.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel Maddow, Air America. Chris Hayes, Air America. The former senator, the comedian,
Al Franken.
Here. Yeah, Al Franken. He was, Air America. They made a great thing, but they didn't institutionalize it. They didn't make sure that it survived. Democrats didn't support it and make sure that it was nurtured and lived beyond its initial usefulness.
I will also say this. You mentioned a couple names that are very successful today, and I agree with you. I don't think I love Al Franken, by the way. I'd vote for him in a heartbeat. Don't think he's a radio guy. Garoppolo. I love her as an actress. She's a very funny comedian. Not a good radio host. So I do think they made some mistakes there. You have to hire radio people. But I think if you just had a network that wasn't even like Air America liberal, if you just got a network together that was more independent. I remember Crossfire. I remember when Tucker Carlson was somewhat normal. I actually watched that show with Carville because it was Hannity and Combs. I used to watch that show.
The problem is that if you have a normal Republican, they're not a member of their own party anymore. That's the dilemma. You could bring in 10 normal Republicans, and none of them are going to be taken seriously inside their own party because they're fact-based. To be a normal Republican today, you have to be narrative-driven, results-driven, and not worry about whether it's right or wrong or true or false. Those things are not allowed.
You're right. I don't disagree with you. We like I said, we certainly need more people like you out there doing podcasts, getting yourself out there. I love the fact that you make appearances on Newsmax. And like I said, we need more of the other side. And we need more people out there spreading truth and fact rather than the fiction and conspiracy theories put forth overwhelming majority by the alt-right. Before I let you go, I want to give you an opportunity, Grant. You're a great follow on social media. How do people follow you? How do people see what you're doing at Occupy Democrats and get their hands on those books? How do they do that?
Well, great place to go is grantstern.com. It's my name, GRANTSTERN.com, grantstern.com. You can get the books there. They're still very relevant if you want to learn more about Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Cory Booker. Let me see who else do we do. Bernie Sanders, and gosh, I'm leaving somebody out. But my newsletter is there, which is a lot of fun. Newsletter.grantstern.com. But you can find it on the front page there. And I just released a big exclusive revealing that this former NRA board member, the chair of the Pennsylvania fake electors, was involved in a multi-state election intrusion conspiracy that's already resulted in indictments in Michigan and Georgia. Sidney Powell's indictment is because of this fellow, right? And this fellow was part of the Donald Trump campaign. He's in Pennsylvania, and he's a cybersecurity expert. He was really the brains behind a lot of what we were seeing going on, but he didn't stop for a very specific reason, according to a whistleblower who worked with him for almost 2 years. The story is fantastic. It's on there, grantstern.com. Please take a look.
I can't wait to read that. Grant, always a pleasure having you on the show. I'm sure we'll have you on again soon, my friend, and keep up the great work. Look forward to your next appearance on Newsmax and when you consistently kick their ass.
Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
Okay, the FIBA World Cup team was lacking a glue guy. They needed a glue guy, okay? That was the biggest problem. No glue.
No glue.
All right.
Glue guy. I like that. No glue. Sure. Hey, I'm going to talk to Steve Kerr for you, by the way, and explain to him your disappointment for the team and the way they did not perform maybe up to standards.
He should have brought Iggy. He should have brought Iggy. I mean, he needed the glue guy. That was it. I thought they had a very talented team.
You needed the glue guy. I love it. Yeah. Grant, you're the best, my friend. Always appreciate it when you come on. Keep up the great work, and we'll talk to you soon. Okay, my friend?
Thanks for having me on, Brian.
Appreciate it, Grant, as always. Have a great day as well. Grant Stern, everybody from Occupy Democrats. Love it. One of my favorite guests. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, it's a tough job, but somebody has to do it. The Girls of Fantasy will be joining us in studio next. Oh, yeah, we're going to have some fun. Can't wait to talk about the show that's been going on for over 2 decades. Take a quick break. Be back right after this. It's Pushing the Limits right here on KSH.
The world-famous radio shopping show, weekday on 1400 KSHP North Las Vegas and KSHP.com.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Everybody, Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits here. I want to tell you guys about my good friends at the Postal Annex. They have a notary signing agent on site daily, no appointment needed, and they offer a full scale of printing services from shipping labels to documents, business cards, banners, photos, and business signage. They're your passport service headquarters. They offer passport photos, and they can renew your adult passports. If you're traveling in a hurry, they can get those passports to you within 7 days or less. Mailbox rentals with a physical street address, and they also receive your packages from Amazon, UPS, FedEx, USPS, and more. Here's the best part. If you're a Pushing the Limits listener, they have an introductory rate of only $39 for a 3-month service. You can't beat it. Give them a call, 702-873-8005. Check them out at 6130 West Flamingo Road. It's the Postal Annex. Tell them I sent you.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event that requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well, so I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust and someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Wynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site x-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams and treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices, office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client, so please give them a call, 702-248-0554.
STN Sports is the only sports betting app you need this season. STN Sports has it all. In-play betting, mobile parlay cards, the Play Plus card to fund and withdraw from anywhere in Nevada, and the latest lines on every game. STN Sports even lets you earn rewards on every bet. Safe and easy betting from your phone or tablet. Go to stationcasinosports.com or sign up at any Station Casino, Fiesta Wildfire, or the El Cortez. Details at the sportsbooks.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining us. Always love having Grant Stern from Occupy Democrats join us as well. That's always a good time. So anybody who knows me knows. Whoops. Hi, everybody. Trust me, you don't want the camera on me for this segment anyway. But anybody who knows me knows that I go to a lot of shows in town. I go to comedy shows, all sorts of different shows. Could be a topless show, could be a comedy show, could be a concert. I get around, if you know what I'm saying. And the two lovely ladies we have with us in studio right now a hit show that's been going for 24 years. Most people can't even have a show going in this town for 24 days, let alone 24 years. This show is just so much fun. It's called Fantasy. It's at the Luxor. It is a really good time if you've never seen it before. I did see it. It's been a little while. And we have Mariah and Ashton in studio from the show Fantasy joining us right now. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
Thank you for having us. We're so excited.
Absolutely.
It's a pleasure having both of you in studio rather than looking at middle-aged politicians that I have to interview every
Just
day.
slightly better, right?
Well,
Very, very boring. Anyway, I appreciate both of you being here. How long have both of you been doing this show for?
I have been a dancer in the show for 15 years and transitioned to, as well as dancing, to company manager for the last 10 years, co-producer for the last 2. So
wow, 15 years. How about you, Ashton?
Yeah, 11 years at the show, and I'm also now production manager.
Look at that.
Performance
So you two are
director.
You two are like jack of all trades, man. That's so cool. What do you? I guess the first basic question about the show, obviously it's a topless showgirl show, right? But what would be the best way to describe it for people that haven't seen it before?
So it is a female review, which means it is 18 and up, but we are fun. We're interactive. We have a fabulous lead singer, Lorraine Apparel. She sings live.
She's awesome.
And she's a powerhouse. Absolutely. 8 fabulous dancers, an aerialist. And it's, we get people of all types. We get couples, we get bachelor parties, bachelorette parties, we get 80th birthday parties, 20-year anniversaries. So
80th birthday party.
Yes, absolutely. They're our most fun.
Cool,
we love them.
My grandma has seen the show probably 15 times, and she's part of the Red Hat Society. So she brings, all of her single older women, and they come and they just love the show. So.
I think that is so cool. Okay, so I would imagine both of you have seen the movie, and I'm sure you've heard this before, Showgirls, right?
Yeah, sure.
When I think of a show like this, and maybe I shouldn't, I think of the movie Showgirls with all the. And I know it's a Hollywood movie. Is any of that real? Is any of that real at all?
No.
There is a show. That's about it.
But like none of that behind the scenes stuff where there's,
luckily not at our show. I mean, obviously
Yeah.
we can't speak for other shows,
Right.
but we are so blessed to just have the kindest, sweetest dancers. I mean, I don't think any of us wish, ill on anybody.
Right.
We've been, in each other's weddings.
It's a Hollywood
we're,
movie.
We're family.
And we
so,
need each
yes.
other. We
Right.
need each
You
other.
don't have
on
anybody
stage.
trying to hurt people. Or,
Absolutely not. We're trying to make sure everyone stays happy.
Nobody's
and
sexually
healthy.
assaulting you.
No, not
All
at
right.
all.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. I will say I did enjoy the movie, though. I did enjoy
It
the
is
movie.
entertaining.
Cult
It's
classic.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes. All right. So obviously nobody wants to see me with my shirt off. Just ask anybody.
Oh, well. Come on.
All right.
Let's
Okay.
show us and we'll judge it.
Nobody wants to see that. But what is it like to be, for lack of a better term, showing the goods in front of a total strangers every night? I mean, are you just used to it?
Well,
Was it weird when you first started?
I came from a small farm town in Colorado. I moved out to Vegas. I was like, I'm never going to do topless. I did a bunch of other shows. And so my mom came out to Vegas. We went and saw it. It was called Showgirls at the Rio. And my mom was like, that's the show you're supposed to be in. That's, just a great show. And so I auditioned, actually got it. And then the very first show, so there's so much going on. You learn choreography, you have all these costume
Right.
changes, everything, you're blocking and you're with all the dancers. Really, once the top came off the first time, it was so free and empowering, and the audience just went crazy and just loved it. And I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. It's really, I assume everybody has a different experience, but I thought it was so freeing and just strong and empowering as a woman to, just command that attention. And I loved it and I never looked back. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, mine was slightly different. I always knew I was going to be a dancer. I thought maybe New York or LA. And then I ended up being almost 6 foot tall, which is a very specific demographic. And so I decided that Vegas was my place. And I originally moved here because I thought I was going to be in Jubilee, which is one of the longest running,
Valleys, right?
Yeah, at Valleys. It's no longer here, but it's a classic showgirl show, which of course is topless. And there's an art to that. It's an art to how you stand. It's an art to how you dance. It's an art to how you perform. And I always knew that that's what I wanted to do. The glamour, the glitz. And I'm totally comfortable with that. My whole family's seen the show. Like, they support me and they love me. And not every dancer can do it because you have to hold yourself differently.
I have to ask you this when you say your family saw the
Yeah.
show. Your father?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's okay.
Maybe
so
30 times.
Most
Yeah,
people
mine
would
too.
say, you bring your father to a show where your daughter is half naked. That's a little strange, but is it not?
We've always been performers. My dad.
That doesn't bother you at all.
No,
Didn't bother him either.
No, and he's brought his friends, he's
interesting.
brought his girlfriends.
Really?
But he's so proud of me because I'm
That's
making
cool.
my living,
Yep.
doing what I want, doing my dream, living my dream, supporting myself.
Right.
And not many people in the arts get to say that.
Right.
I'm very similar to my,
That's
he was
cool.
the one that paid for all the dance recitals and rehearsals and everything.
I
So,
think that's
yeah.
great, and it's so important that your families are supporting you because I
Absolutely.
speak to it could be whether you're working at a strip club or not doing anything illegal, but doing what you want to do, and then you have a family member that doesn't support what you do. That makes things really hard. It sounds to me you have
Sure.
great families that support
Absolutely.
what you're doing.
And not
Yeah.
everyone is as lucky.
That's
true.
Right.
I know Ashlyn's family. I know her mom and
We're,
dad.
I mean, we see each other more than we see our family.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow.
it's
Yeah.
like my sister.
That is so I just think that's so super cool. And you said it's 18 and over,
It
right?
is, yep.
Wow. When I turned 18, this would have been a fun senior day
Yeah.
for me being able to go to see.
We do get a lot of 18 to 21 because there's not a lot you can do in Vegas, until you're
Yeah.
21. So yeah.
Is it I don't want to use the term maybe annoying, but I'm sure you get a lot of men that see your show, maybe women too, that want to take you out. Am I wrong in assuming that?
Kind of rare.
Really?
People come and they see it, and it's such
Yeah.
a production show. So
Right, right, right.
350 person theater. They're sitting there. It feels
Sure.
a little bit like we're not stars, but performers.
Yeah,
So there's
you're
some
entertainers,
distance
sure,
there.
sure.
We're lucky enough to get to meet and greet our fans after the show.
That's cool.
But it's pretty rare that people shoot their shot.
I get a few in my Instagram messages, but
Right. Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. And how many nights a week are you guys doing the show?
the show runs 7 nights a week. Ashton and I are both contracted to do 6 nights a week.
That's a lot.
Show
You only
never
have one day off a week?
Yeah. And we're
If we're
on the
lucky.
management side now too. So
Holy
there's
smokes.
always, emails and different things to do, and people get sick, and
Yeah.
You ever have an off night where you're a little off dancing on stage?
Yes.
You're like, today wasn't really a good night, just like any musician or anybody else.
Every night is different.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving is tough for me because you eat. I host and then you eat a whole dinner and then
Right.
you come to the show and you're like, oh,
That's every day for me. I go to 7-Eleven every day. That's every day for me. Yeah, but that's why I'm not a professional dancer. That's true. So talk to me a little bit about the Luxor though, because you guys have been there for a long time, right?
We have.
The show has been there. In October, we're actually celebrating our 24th year
Wow.
at the Luxor in the Atrium Theater. We're so blessed to be able to continue. We're doing our countdown to the 25th anniversary, so we're having a lot of new changes, a lot of new ideas. We're building a new LED wall that's actually going in a couple weeks,
wow.
which is really
That's
really
awesome.
exciting. So next week we're actually programming it, and so it's really nice. And the Luxor and we're such a team with MGM corporate and everybody that we
Sure.
I mean, we just absolutely love being
Did
there.
that MGM glitch have anything to do with your shows? Did that affect you guys at all? That's a crazy situation.
It has been.
difficult.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
It
How
is
the-
crazy.
That could happen anywhere, but
Absolutely.
it happened at almost. It affected every MGM property, right? I don't know a lot about it.
yes.
So did that affect your show at all in any way?
It did. Our websites are down, so people can't get tickets. So we have to funnel people through Ticketmaster
Wow.
And Vegas.
and Vegas.
Have they fixed it yet?
Yeah.
Or
They're working on
Currently
it. Yeah.
God,
As of
that's-
today, that looks like their websites are still down.
that is so
And,
bizarre.
yeah,
You still have a show tonight.
We do.
absolutely.
Yeah. Every single night. We if
Yeah.
Rain, shine, whatever. We're there.
We've had a flood at the Luxor, and all of our costumes ended up getting wet. And
It was a flood backstage.
It was something with the plumbing. Yeah, I think someone in
Oh my
the,
God.
On stage. a
the
flood
third
on
the
stage.
30th floor had left their
bathtub
on, and
Mhm.
it had just drained. It came down, and long story short, it was raining in our theater.
God.
It was our job to.
We
I
still
ran
did the
down
show.
there, dried all the costumes, got everything out. They had all of the equipment and everything dried up by showtime, and we didn't miss a
That's
beat. The audience
wild,
had no
man.
idea. We were just.
And you're in the same showroom where Carrot Top performs,
We
correct?
are.
Yeah, that's a very, very nice showroom.
Oh yes, and
It's really beautiful.
And he's
yeah.
lovely.
He's awesome.
He's so.
Yeah, he's jacked too.
Yeah.
That guy's
Oh, yeah.
huge, man. The guy works out. I think he's a super nice guy. By
He
the
is
way,
the
I've met him a bunch.
kindest person.
Really
Yeah.
super
we
nice
share
guy.
a backstage area, so
Yeah.
we see him often.
Not to be a like a Debbie Downer, but I was talking to you, Mariah, about this off the air, and it really touched me. I remember you guys had a performer, Miss Narvaez, who was sadly brutally murdered at the time by her ex-boyfriend. Horrible story, right? But I just thought it was so incredible how the people of your show, everybody around your show, came together and helped the family get through it. Carrot Top was a big part of it, raising money for charity for the family. I just wanted to mention that because I just thought it was so cool the way everybody like came together.
It was a terrible, terrible situation.
And you knew
It
her.
was just-
You worked with her, right?
Yeah, she was.
What was she like working with her?
She was great. Yeah, she
Yeah.
was really kind. I actually knew her boyfriend too. You know,
Jason,
the community, the dance community in Las Vegas is so small. We're so supportive of everybody. So for that situation to happen, it was so shocking and so devastating for all of us. But I mean, that's the great thing about. I mean, like any tragedy, you know, October 1st, all the things like I feel like entertainers, it's our job to kind of be, you know, the cheerleaders for the town and everybody. We always come together and it's like, what can we do? Like, let's, you know, put on charity events. Let's smile. Let's give people a reason to.
It is really
feel
a
good
close
again.
knit. Like I say, Vegas is big, but when it comes to the community, it's very small. Everybody seems to know each other in the entertainment business, and everybody seems to, for the most part, get along
and
pretty
I
well.
feel like everyone is
yeah.
so kind in different shows. It's like, you know, you would think that we're rival show, you know,
Yeah.
like, oh, that's another topless show. Don't talk to them. But like, we're all friends.
No,
and
Jennifer
it's just-
Romas is super cool.
Absolutely.
I've had her in plenty of times. And you're right. People are very nice. They seem to support each other at little red
do,
carpet
yeah.
events that are around town.
There's enough work to go
Yeah.
around to where we're not pitted against
Yeah.
each other. Everyone is working and healthy and happy.
And it is interesting, isn't it, that, you know, in Vegas, this is a typical show, right? You have some of these awesome shows like the show Fantasy, but most people around the country would never get an opportunity to see a show like this unless they came to Vegas. Do you think that's ever going to change? Or do you think this is always going to be, for the most part, a Vegas thing, and these other topless shows are going to be few and far between across the country?
I mean, I think the specific, like coming to Vegas for topless shows, like, I don't know, you know, I'm sure there's, you know, a few
Yeah.
other around in town, but they might wear pasties, but it's just such the classic Las Vegas showgirl. I mean, I hope it absolutely never dies. Just the feathers and the just the glitz and glam of
Yeah.
it. Like, I just remember seeing all of the movies like Casino when I was little, and just
Great
like
movie,
the
yep.
showgirls, and it was just like, oh my God, I want to be one of them. They're so
Yeah.
beautiful.
Special that
just-
it's here. Of course, there's topless shows in Paris as well.
Right.
Paris and Vegas.
Amsterdam, I would imagine.
But it is-
Yeah.
but I think we do it, especially our show, we bring a fresh, new perspective to it.
Sure.
And we're very approachable. We get a ton of
That's cool.
people from the Midwest, from
Mhm.
out east, that would think that I would never actually like this show. And then they come and talk to us. And they're like, it
We
was
get-
so shocking and surprising how much we loved it. We just loved
What
it.
would you say to, I hate to bring religion into this, but I'm going to do it right here. There are some people that are ultra religious that would never maybe go see a show like this if there's any form of nudity at all. Now, obviously, I'm not one of those people, but
Sure.
but like, what would you say to those people? And listen, I understand everybody has the right. If you don't want to see a show or do something, you do what you want to do. But there are certain people out there that maybe don't understand the fun they would have going to your show, and because they claim, oh, my religion doesn't allow me to do blah 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 blah. What would you say to them?
Well, Vegas has so many options. I mean,
Mhm.
on the same level of our Luxor, you have Blue Man Group, Carrot Top, and us. So just pick a
I
different
love
show.
Blue Man Group, by the way. Those guys are awesome too.
They're great. As
Yeah,
well.
that is a phenomenal show. Because of what both of you do for a living and because you're entertainers, have you ever met maybe a very famous celebrity backstage, or somebody that saw your show, or you met somebody because of what you do that you never thought you would be able to meet before? Do you ever have a moment like that in your career, and who was it?
A lot.
Yeah. Well, Sting came to our show.
No way.
I was
How cool is
I-
that?
yeah. And
That guy's a legend.
And we actually have one of his.
Quite
We have
handsome.
Roxanne by the Police in our show.
Wow. So
And
so how does this work? He hits up the PR people and
Yes.
and he says, "Hey, it's not him, but it's somebody calling up saying, "Hey, Sting's going to show up. He'd love to meet you guys after the show." Like, how does that work?
I actually believe that contact, because it was my day off, and I got a message from Carrot Top. I think he had just seen Carrot Top, or he was like in our theater, and he was just like, you know, I really want to see that show. And so then Carrot Top reached out to me and said, you know, is it possible for tickets for Sting? And I was just like, oh, you're like, absolutely, whatever we need to do, we need to get him in. So yeah, it was.
What does he
it was
say to you
special.
after the show? Just pleasantries. Hey, I enjoyed
So
the
he
show. Or
didn't say, because we do
Yeah.
such a public meet and greet.
Yeah.
Sometimes a celebrity will sneak out right before,
Yeah.
so they
Just
don't get
to-
inundated
yeah.
by people.
Mhm.
I missed Usher.
Usher saw your show.
Yeah,
Wow.
he was amazing, and we got to. He came backstage, and we got to take pictures with him. And he was about to open his Las Vegas residency, so he had lots of questions on, you know, what our schedule was, and he was just the kindest, nicest person.
Wow, how cool is that? Dancer, entertainer, male or female, dead or alive, that you would, a dream of yours to be able to be on stage with and perform with, who would it be?
Ooh, Elvis for me.
Elvis, that's a good one.
That would have been just so classic. Our producer actually was on stage, and she lived that life. She choreographed for Elvis.
No way, wow.
Just so classic Las Vegas.
How cool is that?
I would have loved to be a part of that era.
Janet Jackson. Come on.
She's incredible. That was one of
That was my first concert.
I'm trying to remember the album, and I'm embarrassed that I don't even remember the album. But it was one of the first shows I'd ever seen, and the dancing and the choreography, the fact that she's not lip syncing and she's actually singing with a live band and doing all this choreography at the same time, which almost no performers are capable of doing that are singers today. I just thought it was mesmerizing. How great she was as a performer, and probably still is. I don't know, how old is she now? She's up there a little bit, right? But
she just had a baby at 50.
Yeah.
Like a couple
She
years
still
ago.
looks pretty
so
darn
that's,
good.
That's
She looks
amazing.
great.
Yeah, pretty
Keep it
darn
going.
good.
I'd like to stay on stage till I'm 50. So let's just
Any
keep
other
it going.
shows that are people that you'd always want to dance with? Like, because there's so many different shows out there. I know you're with Fantasy, but other shows that you watch and say, hey, that'd be pretty cool to be up there with them.
I mean,
that's a stumper.
Yeah. I mean,
There's a lot of shows.
There is a lot of shows. I mean, I would love to do like either one-off shows or different performances. If a big celebrity were to come into town for a one-time show and then do like a Fantasy would perform with. Gosh, I don't know. Pink would be amazing.
Oh, sure. Oh, she's awesome.
Yeah, do some kind of aerial something.
So what would happen? I'm curious if this has ever happened before, because a lot of people that come to Vegas do have a lot of money. They might not leave with a lot of money, but they have a lot of money. If somebody approached you guys and said, hey, I want a private show of Fantasy at my mansion, I don't know. Has that ever happened before? And is there a price for that?
We have got offers. We haven't actually done it. It's really like some people will come out and be like, I own a casino out in Hawaii. You guys should come out. Or
We're like, yes, please.
Yeah, come
talk to our
and-
producer and
yeah.
book us. But it hasn't actually worked out because the show runs 7 days a week here. We're already on sale for next year. We've already had ticket sales. So to take a break and do something out of state or somewhere else is difficult. We have done abbreviated shows way back at like conventions. So CES, we did a little show preview before, but that's during the day, so it doesn't conflict with our.
No, I understand that. 7 days a week is incredible, because I'm not sure there are any other shows out there that are doing it 7 days a week. Not many.
Sure, I know there was a few before the pandemic, but I think when the pandemic hit and shows came back, I don't know how many are.
Shows are usually dark 1 or 2 days a week.
Yes, and then if they're not, they have dark weeks. But
Right.
we're 7 days a week, 365.
That's wild,
Yeah,
man.
we're actually doing double shows the whole week of Christmas,
Oh,
Christmas
wow.
Eve. Yeah, we.
So
we-
are
we
you
are
wearing
rocking and
Christmas
rolling.
outfits when you get
We
up on
do
stage?
have Christmas outfits. We have little outfits.
I'm gonna have to see that show.
Yeah.
I have to see.
Shows are fun.
I'm gonna have to see that show for sure. That is so cool. But I ask you that because, and this goes to my next question, is that there are so many Vegas shows that struggle. There are so many shows that struggle to stay here and make money. The fact that you guys have been in business making money for 24 years goes to show, first of all, how much people enjoy the show. Right. That's number one. The product has to be good, right?
Absolutely.
And then the price has to be affordable. And I also believe what's just as important is the show has to not only be friendly to the tourist, but you also have to get the locals involved as well, right?
Absolutely.
How are you able to do that?
I think it's a testament to our producer, Anita Mann. She is just fabulous. She's on the cutting edge of, any kind of new marketing thing. She's willing to try everything. And the show is constantly evolving. I think this last summer we put in 8 new numbers. So if we've had people come see the show over 100 times. And I don't think in those 100 times they've ever seen the exact same show. We always rotate cast. We have new numbers.
Yes.
We've got, new costumes.
And our fans are fabulous.
Yeah.
They support us and they love us and they
I think
bring
that's
their
awesome.
friends and they bring their friends and they
That's
tell
awesome.
wherever they're
Yeah.
from that that's where you go when you go
Yeah.
to Vegas. You go to Fantasy. We get lots of repeat customers. We get lots of people who
I love
say,
that.
so and so.
The opposite of my sex life, no repeat customers. Anyway, that's another story for another
Work
show.
on it.
Numchuck, is this the part of the show where I get to ask inappropriate questions? Is no? Could I ask one? I'll ask one. Okay, this isn't really inappropriate. Okay, this is a controversy. Since you guys do a topless show, let's ask a topless question. Why is it that men are allowed to take their shirts off in public, but women are not unless they're breastfeeding? For the life of me, I never really understood that. Can you help me understand
I agree.
that?
That's a great question.
That's not an inappropriate question.
Patriarchy. Yeah, it's not supposed to be like that.
Why though? I don't know. Why are people so uptight? I guess that's my real question. Why are people so uptight? Listen, I get it. Some people don't want to see other people with their clothes off. Okay, then don't look at them.
Yeah.
Keep walking. I've seen people without their clothes on, and I kept walking. Okay, I don't want to see that. Keep walking.
Sure.
And then I see people with their clothes. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Or maybe I'll say something else that I can't say on the radio.
And you
but
would think that the people who don't want to see people naked wouldn't also want to see men shirtless, but that doesn't seem to be a problem.
no,
But anyway,
I don't understand that in our society. I never really did. Why are
It
people
is.
so
It's
uptight?
just skin. It's just bodies. We all have them.
All different shapes
yes.
and sizes.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind me asking, do you both have a family? Do you have kids or?
We have families but no kids.
Yes.
Okay.
For babies.
Families that know
Lots of
kids.
dogs. We
That
love,
is-
yes.
That is super cool. And you guys have lived in Vegas, obviously, since you started working on this show, right? Mariah, you're from Colorado.
I am.
Okay. And Ashton, you're from, Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Cold.
Oh yeah, sure you betcha.
Freezing there, man.
Not all the time. For like 2 months, it's one of the most beautiful places in the world.
That's cool. I've never been to Minnesota before.
Well,
I'll
put
be
it on
honest.
your list. Put it on your list.
I don't think we're going to
Culturally,
be seeing one of these shows in Minnesota anytime soon, are
no,
we?
but it is pretty cool. Like the city
Liberal? Pretty liberal?
Prince is from there. Yeah.
Oh, I love Prince. You know, I
Yeah,
remember when.
absolutely.
Do you remember? You guys both remember when he ran that nightclub at the Rio for a short period of time.
I was actually in the show right before it, so he came in and was like, "Oh my God, Prince is here!" You know, he's watched
you
a little
talk to him?
bit of our show, and then he closed it down. He was like, "I want this whole theater," so our show closed. So I was like, "Oh,
why did he close it down?"
He wanted the whole theater for himself, which makes sense. You know, we were
He's Prince.
Yeah, and he had. I think he was still in
Crown
that,
nightclub,
that-
right? Is that what it was called? Crown or
Well, before it was Club Rio.
Club Rio,
Yeah,
Crown
Club Rio was
nightclub.
there, yeah. So
did you ever talk to him?
a little. No, not really. So I was also a go-go dancer at the club too. So there was one time when he was there, and I was just coming out to go do my next set, and I opened the door, and it's like backstage, like super small hallways, and he was just standing there. Literally, it felt like Jesus, and like it was just like this beacon of light. And I was just like, and I wasn't a huge I didn't think he was attractive, but when I saw him in person, I was like, this is the most beautiful human I've ever seen. Just touched by angels. Like he was just, and you just know the
Magnetic, yeah.
talent, and just I was like, and I completely froze, and he was like, "Can I help you?" I was like,
Is that what he said?
yeah, and I was like, I completely froze. Which is rare for me to do. Like I was.
Yeah, I don't get a very celebrity starstruck,
It's
but
Prince, man.
Prince.
I met him at, and I'm sure you remember this, NBA All-Star Weekend. That was a very crazy weekend,
that was
right?
a crazy
So
weekend.
Prince was in town for that. He and his girlfriend were sitting front row. I just shook his hand and I said, just thank you for all what you do. Because first album I ever bought was Prince and the New Power Generation when I was like 10 years old. And I told him that, and he kind of chuckled. He's like, thank you, man. I appreciate that. And then he just kept walking. I'm like, wow, Prince just said thank you to me. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
You know, when you're in Vegas, you rub shoulders with some incredible people. I remember it was Muhammad Ali's 70th birthday. I've been doing radio for 20 years, and they had a big charity event at MGM. They do great charity events
really
there,
do.
by the way.
They do.
And it's the Lou Ruvo event. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's at MGM Grand every year. And so I'm doing the red carpet, and every A-lister was there for Muhammad Ali. And I got in there, and I was able to sit down and at one of the tables. And the guy, to my right is Sir Anthony Hopkins. To my left is Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh, wow.
And I got Anthony Hopkins. So Brian, tell me a little bit about Las Vegas. It's my Anthony Hopkins impersonation.
Nice.
Not very good.
You nailed it.
And I'm just like, I don't belong here, you know. But when you're in Vegas, you get to mingle with people that you never thought you'd ever be able to meet in your life.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure you guys just talked about that, hanging out with Sting. I mean, that's pretty damn cool. And meeting Prince at the Rio. Yeah, it's so sad what happened to him, but that was so cool that for a short period of time he called Vegas his home.
Yeah,
and I saw one of those shows, and it was mesmerizing. I couldn't believe what, everyone talks about his music and his singing, but I don't even think some people realize what a great guitar player. He's one of the greatest guitar players of all time.
Yeah. All
right?
of the instruments. He's on the piano,
The
and
guy's
he's over here, and it's just like,
unbelievable,
he
right?
is, yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the best shows you've seen in this town over the years?
Random,
Besides fantasy.
Of course, obviously, there's so many. And
Right.
Prince was one of them. Actually, my sister was in town, and I saw Celine Dion the same day, which was a fabulous show.
Yeah.
And then I went over to work, and then I happened to be backstage and watched Prince show, and I was just like, it's the different music and thing, but I was just like, oh, what a special day! Like I can see Celine Dion, and then I can see Prince perform in the same day, and those two shows were fabulous.
I hate that I never saw Cher because her show quality, the costumes, the Bob Mackie costumes, the showgirls, like I should have been there.
She was fabulous as well.
Of course, the Vegas trap is you just working so much. Everyone is here.
You guys never really have time off.
It's 6 days a week.
Do you ever get burnt out?
Sure.
You're driving to work, you're going to the Luxor, and you say, oh, I'm not sure I feel. You're a professional, you still do the show, but you ever feel like, oh man, I don't really feel like doing the show tonight?
Yes, everyone feels like that, but what's different about about our work is the audience is different every night. So as soon as the curtain opens and we can see everyone in that theater, and they're so excited. It's their first time seeing us. It might be my 1000th show, but it's their first time. So like you have a responsibility to just fake it and bring it and figure it out.
Why is it? I don't know. Am I just weird? Let's just say I was doing, and again, nobody wants to see this. There are no male bottomless shows out there, right, as far as I know.
I think there's puppetry of the penis.
Yep.
Yes. Well, I don't think I've ever seen that show. I don't know if I would enjoy that.
It's a specific niche.
All right, let's just say for hypothetically, nobody would want to see me do that show. But if I was, I wouldn't want my mother to be there. You know what I mean? Like I'm still trying to grasp that. And I think that, by the way, I think it's so cool that your family was there and your dad. I think that's awesome.
Sure.
But I would not want my family member to be there.
Add that we've been in dance lessons. I've been in dance lessons since I was 2, which means my family went to every recital, every dance competition, which means they probably, I didn't know, but worried about what I was going to do with my future. How was I going to support myself in the arts, and then seeing this dream for years and years and years and years. For them, it's seeing my dream come to fruition. I think it's just...
I think it's great.
Yeah.
No, I think it's...
But I think that would be it. If you had trained your whole life, even if they didn't
If I
really
trained my
get
whole
it.
life to do puppetry of the penis.
Yeah.
Well, some people could argue I have been doing that. But anyway, that's another story, again, for another show. Again, if you're just joining us, Mariah and Ashton are joining us in studio. They're so nice enough to be here. The show is called Fantasy. It's been going on for 24 years. It's been a little while since I saw the show. I'm definitely going to go back and see it again, but it's at the Luxor. Prices are fairly affordable. I don't know if you can give us information on what the pricing is, or if there's any deals for locals that you can share with us as far as how the pricing goes.
We definitely do local deals. I'm not sure exactly the time frame, but I know we do summer local deals, which is buy one, get one free for tickets for locals. You just have to show your Luxor ID, or your driver's
Local
license
ID,
at the local ID at the Luxor box office for those tickets. And then our tickets start at $39.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so
that's a good
we
deal.
really want to be
worth it.
affordable. We're,
Spend more money at McDonald's these days.
yeah.
I spent $40 at McDonald's the other day. I'm like, what happened?
Oh, wow. Yeah.
What happened, man? You know who was a big fan of your show, and he's a friend of mine, and he's sorely missed? Robin Leach.
Absolutely.
I loved Robin. He was a legendary journalist.
Absolutely.
And he supported so many of the shows like yours, and I love that about him. And there were a few times where I talked to him, he's like, I saw the show Fantasy the other day, and I can't do his accent. But the great Robin Leach, he's sorely missed. Wasn't he great?
He is. He
loved your
was
show.
fabulous. We would give him the exclusive on our calendar. So every year we shoot a calendar, and so then he would come out and get to see the pictures, and just very, very, very supportive, very kind. And
He really was.
Really missed.
It's nice to get support like that.
Absolutely.
I want to see Oscar Goodman down there. I got to tell Oscar to go.
We would love to have
With
him.
his 2 martinis in his hands.
Yes,
Any politicians in your show that you could recall?
Not a
Bill Clinton didn't roll in there? No? No Donald Trump? No Donald Trump strolling in? No.
Not yet.
Let me ask you this. How would you deal with that? I think I know the answer you're going to give me. But if somebody walked in there that, say, you don't like, right? And I won't even put a name on it, but if there was a politician that, I hate that person, I'm not saying you would say that. I would, because I'm a hateful person. But anyway, but no, in all seriousness, if you saw that person front row, would you let it affect you at all? And how would you deal with that? Somebody that you just, in the public eye, that you just hate, you don't like.
We haven't really had that situation come up, but I feel like I feed off people's energy. So even if I hated them, if they were in the front row having a good time, smiling,
that's all that
I would be performing as a normal.
I like that.
I
like that.
If they were hating the show or talking, not
then
kind
you'd have a
things, because we
problem.
can hear you, and if
And we
you're in the
can
front
see
row,
them.
it would be tough.
So
but we're professionals. You smile.
You
Show
hear
must go
people in the crowd making comments about your body, positive
Yes.
comments, but comments.
They do, but afterwards at meet and greet, they'll come up and sometimes say things that you're like, wow, I can't believe you actually said that. It's like, I like her this and you're that, and if you put her this on, or you can.
So you'll have somebody.
Strange.
So you'll have somebody in the crowd or somebody after the show commenting on a specific body part.
They do.
We
yeah.
have
I think
before,
they
yeah.
feel like
That is a little strange.
we're so warm and we're so excited to meet everybody. They feel like they know us. They do, and if you come to the show a lot, they do feel like they're our friends.
Do you feel like that's a little disrespectful? Like
It depends on.
I get it. This is what you do.
Yeah.
I get it, but there's a lot of other stuff you're doing in the show too. It's not just showing off how beautiful you are.
99% of the comments are positive, and they're people are, and it's intimidating to come
They
up
get
to us.
nervous.
And
They just
So
say
you have to be
absolutely
professional, and I get that. But in everyday life, you know how some men are. Some men are pigs. And
Absolutely.
if a regular man, an idiot, I would never talk like that to a woman. But if a regular everyday person goes up to you and says, boy, you got great boobs or whatever, or maybe even more rudely than I just said it, you would probably want to smack them in the face, right? But after a show,
we know that there's a lot of factors into it. And number one, I think Mariah hit on was, it's just, they're nervous.
Yeah.
They're nervous. They've just seen us on stage and then we're there.
And that's the
like,
first thing they say. You
there's
can't say, wow, you ladies are so talented and so beautiful. They have to go to your
them
body.
say that.
Yeah.
But I think it is just a way to connect. And it's a
That's
little
an interesting way to connect. I mean, maybe if you were in a strip club, I guess, but a little strange, but you have to be professional. And at least it's a positive thing,
I mean,
right?
we definitely have security there. So if someone's really out of hand or you just like, I'm uncomfortable asking.
You ever get that
answering this
situation
question.
ever in 15 years?
We definitely have. Yeah. It's
Can you give me a rare, like, when does security have to get involved? When they get like touchy with you, or?
Yeah, we've definitely had people, because we take pictures. So, usually it's, low, put your hand on the lower back, but we've definitely, had men try to grab our tushies and, then it's just, it's.
Well, that's not cool.
Yeah.
That's not cool. But I would imagine the overwhelming majority don't.
Security's
do that.
right there.
Yeah.
There's,
And I'm
they'll
sure
usher them
alcohol
out.
could be a part of it too, right?
Absolutely,
Not that it excuses that kind of behavior. On a positive side, I would imagine that couples go see your show, and maybe it's a couple that's been in a marriage for a little while and things are not going very well, or maybe they got into an argument, and then all of a sudden I would imagine they see your show and things get fun again, and then they're all of a sudden touchy-feely with each other, and maybe the reason why they're connecting later on in the night is because of your show. I would imagine that you've heard those stories.
That's absolutely the goal. Like, we don't want to make anybody in a relationship feel uncomfortable. We that's kind of the foreplay. Like, go
In a
and
way,
do
it's
your
therapy
thing. Like,
what you do for some couples. Right?
Enjoy.
That's awesome.
We have had women that just are so uncomfortable, or you can obviously tell that the couple's fighting, and
or men
sometimes
that are
they,
just
leave.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But
What man would be uncomfortable going to your show? Well, I guess there's a few out there. I don't know.
everyone's different, but for the most part, we
Yeah.
have a really positive experience, and it like sets off the rest of your trip. Yeah.
Okay, I want to give you a quick story, and I want to get your opinions on this. Speaking of uncomfortable, I had a lady friend 10 years ago out of town. She wanted to go see kind of a male review show, and then maybe, we could see one of your shows or something, right? Okay, no problem. I didn't know what this show was. All due respect to the people that I don't even know if there's the show's called Naked Boys Singing. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. It is full on male nudity. We were 4 feet from the stage. I don't think she was turned on. I certainly was not. All due respect to what they do. I didn't have a very good time. I wasn't enjoying myself. So I just told her, all right, we're going to Sapphire now, whether you like it or not. She obliged, and everything was all good. But I guess I made the mistake of not knowing what the show was. I've taken ladies to Chippendales. Pleasantly, I had a good time. It was fun. It was fun. I'm not like homophobic or whatever you call it. I don't care. But the Naked Boys Singing was a little bit over the line for me. I didn't enjoy it. So what do you think I did wrong? Maybe I didn't research the show, or
go to their socials and check it out. Our socials are great too. We're at Fantasy Luxor, so you can see.
You know what you're going to get with your show. You're going to get great dancing. It's going to be a lot of fun. You have a comedian in your show too, correct?
We do. We're in the middle of transitioning into like a new phase. So we're adding brand new numbers, different ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in the evolution phase of adding new things to our
If
shows.
you need to add a bald Jew radio host to your show, let me know.
I'll tell our producer
you work 7 days a week.
Yeah,
365.
Absolutely not. I mean, if I got to see you guys 7 days a week, it'd probably make things a lot easier. I have to look at Numchuck every day, and he has to look at me. So it's exactly.
That is what makes it your coworkers. Like, our dressing room is so fun. Yeah. I love it. We do birthday parties, and we bring treats. And
That's cool. How long do you get there before the show, by the way?
call times at like an hour before.
You got to do makeup.
Yeah.
You got to get your hair done.
I
don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. We're always, because the show is different. We have different girls in different tracks. So like if Ashton's off, then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to be Ashton tonight in the opening number. So then you kind of mentally go through the blocking. And
you guys sing too?
We do. We sing in the show.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. What's your favorite song? Like, what's your karaoke go-to song?
Karaoke's tough in this town because everyone's
fabulous.
a headliner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
I actually have not sung karaoke in this town before that. Like, and then you go to like, what's the Ellis Island? And
I love Ellis Island.
The wait list for the songs are like, okay, you'll be on in 3 hours. And it's like, I just wanted to get up and sing a silly little song. And
I love Ellis Island.
Yeah, it's
that place is the
Yeah.
best. Do you have any other favorite spots in Vegas that you enjoy going to?
Oh, so many.
That's a great question.
You love to go to Jing.
Naked boys singing.
Naked boys singing.
I'm around downtown Summerlin, so I love.
That's a beautiful area. You ever go to the baseball games over there? Aviator games?
Rarely.
Well, you don't have any days off. I just remembered that. You don't have a lot of time. No, but downtown Summerlin's beautiful, isn't it? It really is. Red Rock is beautiful, and it's pretty cool. How about yourself? Any spots in town?
Love like Town Square. It's just easy. All the shopping, and then Blue Martini and
Blue Martini. I used to hang out there a lot.
Yeah.
I used to hang out there a lot at Blue Martini.
Yeah.
And I know if we can get kind of out of town, like Mount Charleston or Sedona, like quick places
Mount
that we
Charleston's
can
great.
do. It's
Yeah,
great.
on the one day off you might have to go to Mount
or
Charleston.
you
Yeah.
could do it on a day that you have a show if you get up early enough. Yeah.
That is very true. You do have
try to
you work
do.
at night, but you have
Yes.
good portions of the day.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever asked you this. Any relationship you've ever been in where your partner maybe got a little bit jealous of what you do?
No.
No.
I know why I would ask that though. 'cause
Yeah,
sometimes-
I wouldn't stand for it either.
Yeah.
It's-
You know why I asked that though. There are guys
Sure.
out there that are really jealous and I don't want to see you doing
I
that.
mean,
I
I
don't
could
want-
see if you were in a long relationship and you weren't a dancer, and then all of a sudden you were like, okay, I'm going to go on stage in fantasy and be topless. That's kind of changing the rules. But for me, I moved out to Vegas to be a Las Vegas showgirl, so that's built into my DNA. So I mean, and now
Yeah.
anybody I've met, it's like this is what I do. If you're uncomfortable.
Then
You're
not going to work for you.
We are, we're, you know.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I guess my feeling is if I'm dating somebody or I'm with somebody and other people are watching them show off whatever they're doing, how beautiful they are, I think that makes me feel better, not worse.
Yeah,
I'm like,
I
wow.
would, I would be proud. Like,
Yeah.
I want to be with somebody that's, beautiful and sexy and
Of
smart,
course.
or all of the things.
Well, I have
So
no
it's just-
chance, obviously, but anyway. No, but I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. So I know there's the show over at Stratosphere. I forgot what it's called, where it involves men and women. That's the
Rouge,
top.
yeah.
Rouge, good show.
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be more shows like that where it includes more men and women together, like maybe Chippendales and people like you?
I think Chippendales will maintain their branding, but
Yeah.
yes, I think the new Dita Von Teese show is going
Mhm.
to have men and women.
It does have men? Nice.
That is super
Yeah.
cool. If you had to name one guy that you'd want to see do a show for you, like a Chippendale type show. I'm not going to get nasty with the question, but you know what I'm saying. Like if you wanted to see one guy that you've always wanted to see, I don't know, with his shirt off, dancing around a stage, performing for you. I'm just curious, man or woman, I guess. We could start with them. Who would that be?
For me, it'd be Tyson Beckford. I met
Ooh,
him when he was
Beautiful.
headlining in Chippendales, and he did like a small run. I actually got to interview him.
He was in the Janet Jackson music
Oh,
video years back. Yeah, yeah.
He is so beautiful.
Good-looking dude.
Oh my
Good-looking
god.
dude.
Oh my god.
That's the perfect dancer because you
And
can
he's a
think
great
of-
dancer. Yeah, yeah.
He is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Starstruck by him as well.
I can think of lots of attractive men, but not like if they can't dance, then all of a sudden they're not going to be super attractive to me if I'm watching them. In
So
a
they
show.
have to be able to dance.
If
they're going to give me a
If they're gonna
striptease or
give me a
something.
show, absolutely. Yeah. Huge.
Interesting. Tyson
Huge
Beckford's a
bonus
good
fan.
one.
Ooh,
He's been around a
yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, how about a lady that you'd want to see perform?
Maybe Carmen Electra.
Oh, she's been around a while.
Yeah, she is. Or Pamela Anderson. I know, like, look, in their heyday. Yeah, just.
We'll ask Dennis Rodman about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but those are two very big names. I love.
I'm gonna
Carmen
guess Megan
Electra.
Fox.
She's
Megan
beautiful.
Fox.
I think Miley Cyrus is so hot, but she just put a microphone in her hand.
You guys don't have a lot of time to see a lot of shows in town, right?
Unfortunately, not.
Yeah.
My goodness.
It's,
You're-
We could do better.
Yeah,
We
I
could
kind of
do
balance
better.
my with just having one day off. I'm in a relaxing mode right now, so usually if my day off, I'm with a glass of my wine in my pajamas at like 4 p.m.
Don't tell me both of you have the day off today and you're stuck here for 45 minutes.
No, we're both working.
What time is the show tonight?
10:30
So when are the days you do two shows?
Sundays.
So just Sunday. What are the times of those shows?
8 o'clock and 10:30.
Okay, so 8 o'clock and 10:30, and then every other night during the week, and even Friday, Saturday night, it's at 7?
10,
Or I'm sorry,
10:30.
I'm sorry, 10:30.
Late night.
10:30. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I got that right. All right, we only have 2 minutes left here. I want you to give out the information, Mariah and Ashton, how people can get tickets, how people can get involved and see the show if they've never seen the show before. How do they go about doing that?
You can go to our website, www.fantasyluxor.com. It can give you tickets. We have our calendar sales, calendars for sale. We're getting new merchandise that will have everything up there. That's the easiest place. You can also follow us on social media.
At Fantasy Luxor. Our Instagram has links to all of our tickets, to our merch, and we're also in the running for Best of Las Vegas. You can vote for us there.
Oh, that's awesome. I will definitely have to do that. I haven't seen the show in a long time. I'm going to have to
You
come
have
back.
to come back. Just let us
I would
pick
love
a night.
to. I would love to. That would be I think I don't want to wait till Christmas, but I might. I just want to see you guys in the Christmas outfits.
So
Yeah, the
starting
Christmas hats.
December 17th through December 25th, we're doing double shows all week. So
And they also have some cool exhibits at the Luxor too. I mean, I
do.
saw the bodies exhibit there before, the Titanic exhibit I've seen there.
And then the new King Tut. That
I haven't
was
seen that
really
one.
cool.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Now, they have some great exhibits there, some good restaurants there. It's a fun spot.
Yep, they're opening up in potentially December, early next year. This new place called Play, and it's almost like it's supposed to be an interactive adult playground. They're going to have one
With
of
a
those
bar.
like with a bar. Yeah, they'll have the Velcro things you can jump and throw
Well, that
yourself onto a
sounds
wall.
super
and
cool.
I'm really excited for that. I think that should bring some fun energy.
Well, thank you.
to
Well,
the
you
Luxor.
both bring some fun energy to the show.
Thank you for having
I
us.
appreciate you, Mariah and Ashton, for joining us. I can't wait to see the show Fantasy again. And if anyone hasn't seen it yet, or if you already have, go check it out again. These ladies are working really hard, and it's a very, very successful show going on for 24 years. They certainly got to be doing something right. They're doing a lot right, and it's awesome. And I appreciate both of you being here and having to deal with me for 45 minutes. So thank you very much. I appreciate that. Wow, that's a wrap. That hour's gone by really fast. We'll see you tomorrow, everybody, on the show. We got Alan Bigelow coming in studio. Attorney Tim Treffinger is going to be here. So thanks for joining us, everybody. And thank you to the ladies, Mariah and Ashton, for joining us in studio from Fantasy. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. Same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super hero, that is, because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent